Momini was different. From a young age, he had always felt a peculiar connection to the concept of time. While other children played with toys and games, Momini found himself drawn to clocks and watches, fascinated by their intricate mechanisms and the way they measured the passage of moments. He always felt a pull towards time, an invisible thread that seemed to bind him to the ticking of the clock hands. It was as if he could hear the heartbeat of time itself, a steady rhythm that resonated deep within his soul. A fascination with its rhythm, the way it never faltered, never hesitated. Each tick and tock was a promise, a reminder that time marched on, unyielding and relentless. This rhythm became a comforting presence in his life, a constant in a world full of uncertainties. His most prized possession was an old grandfather clock inherited from his eccentric uncle. The clock was a magnificent piece with ornate carvings and a pendulum that swung with a hypnotic grace. It stood in the corner of his room, a silent guardian of time. It ticked with an odd rhythm, almost a whisper that seemed to call out to him. The sound was different from any other clock he had ever heard, a soft murmur that seemed to speak directly to his heart. It was as if the clock had a soul, a voice that only he could hear. Little did he know the clock held a secret, a power that would change everything. It was not just a timepiece, but a gateway to another realm, a world where time could be bent and twisted to one's will. This secret was hidden deep within the clock's mechanisms, waiting to be discovered. Momini would often spend hours staring at the clock's pendulum, mesmerized by its constant swing. The pendulum's motion was soothing, a gentle reminder of the passage of time. He felt a deep connection to it, as if it was a part of him, an extension of his own being. He felt strangely connected to it, as if it held a secret language only he could understand. The whispers from the clock grew louder, more insistent, urging him to listen, to pay attention. They spoke of hidden truths and forgotten knowledge, of powers that lay dormant, waiting to be awakened. The whispers grew stronger, urging him closer, drawing him into the clock's mysterious embrace. They promised him power, knowledge, and the ability to control time itself. It was a temptation he found hard to resist, a promise of something greater than he had ever imagined, tempting him with a power he could barely comprehend. Momini stood at the edge of a great discovery, a journey that would take him beyond the boundaries of time and space. The clock's whispers beckoned him forward, and with a deep breath, he took the first step into the unknown. One stormy night, as lightning flashed and thunder roared, Momini stumbled upon the clock's secret. He was winding it, a nightly ritual, when his hand brushed against a hidden lever. The clock shuddered and the whispers intensified, swirling around him like a mini cyclone. Suddenly, the room was filled with a blinding light. When Momini could see again, he realized something was different. The storm outside had vanished, replaced by an eerie silence. He glanced at the clock. The hands spun backward. He had turned back time. A thrill shot through him, a mixture of fear and exhilaration. He had the power to control time itself. Momini's first use of his newfound power was innocent enough. He had discovered a magical lever that allowed him to manipulate time. At first, he used it for simple pleasures. He'd rewind time to relive a favorite moment, like the time he scored the winning goal in a soccer game or when he found a rare toy in a cereal box. He would savor a delicious meal again, especially his mum's famous chocolate cake, which he could never get enough of. But the thrill of control soon turned into an obsession. He began to use the lever more frequently, finding new ways to amuse himself. He began to manipulate time for his amusement, unaware of the chaos he was creating. He would rewind time to avoid chores or to skip boring classes at school. It was his little sister's birthday, a day she had been looking forward to for weeks. The house was filled with balloons, streamers, and the smell of freshly baked cake. She was opening presents, her face lit up with joy. Each gift brought a new wave of excitement, and her laughter filled the room. Then, Momini, in a fit of childish pique, decided to rewind the moment. He wanted to see her delight all over again. He pulled the lever, expecting to relive the joy. He wanted to see her delight all over again. He pulled the lever, thinking it would be harmless fun. The day reset, but something was wrong. The day reset, but something was wrong. The presents were there. The decorations were the same, but the atmosphere had changed. His sister's joyful expression was replaced with a blank stare. She no longer seemed excited about her gifts. Her eyes were vacant, her smile gone. The magic that had once brought so much joy had now taken it all away. Momoni realized that his actions had consequences, and he had to find a way to fix what he had broken. The world Momoni inhabited was already strange, like a moving illustration from a children's storybook. The buildings were slightly off-kilter, the trees swayed to a silent wind, and the people moved with a jerky, stop-motion animation. But as Momoni continued to tamper with time, the world around him grew stranger, more unsettling. Colours became more vivid, almost garish. Shadows stretched and contorted, taking on a life of their own. The very texture of reality seemed to shift, becoming clay-like and malleable. Momoni had unwittingly transformed his world into a macabre, surreal nightmare, a twisted reflection of his own internal turmoil. The consequences of Momoni's actions were far-reaching and devastating. People began to experience gaps in their memories, their lives becoming fragmented and disjointed. The environment too bore the brunt of his temporal meddling. Plants withered and died in an instant, only to bloom again moments later, trapped in an endless cycle of unnatural growth and decay. The flow of time, once a steady river, had become a turbulent ocean, its currents unpredictable and dangerous. Momoni had become a prisoner of his own making, trapped in a world on the brink of collapse, haunted by the echoes of what once was. One day, a mysterious figure arrived in Momoni's town. He was an old man, his eyes filled with a knowing sadness. He introduced himself as the watchmaker's son, the inheritor of the clock's secrets. He had been watching Momoni, felt the tremors of his temporal tampering. The old man explained the true nature of the clock's power, the delicate balance that Momoni had disrupted. He spoke of consequences far greater than Momoni could imagine, of timelines collapsing and realities merging. He offered Momoni a choice: continue down this destructive path or seek redemption. Momoni, consumed by guilt and fear, desperately tried to repair the damage he had caused. His heart pounded in his chest as he frantically searched for a solution, his mind racing with regret and anxiety. Every moment felt like an eternity as he grappled with the consequences of his actions. He attempted to rewind time to the moment before he discovered the clock's secret, to undo the chaos he had unleashed. The antique clock, with its intricate gears and mysterious aura, seemed to mock his efforts. Each pull of the lever was a desperate plea to turn back the hands of time, to erase the mistakes that haunted him. But each attempt only seemed to worsen the situation, the fabric of reality fraying further with every pull of the lever. The world around him began to twist and contort, the once familiar surroundings now a nightmarish landscape. The more he tried to fix things, the more they spiraled out of control, slipping through his fingers like sand. The claymation world around him began to crumble, the colors bleeding into one another, the figures distorting beyond recognition. What was once vibrant and full of life now became a chaotic blend of hues and shapes, a testament to the unraveling of his reality. The ground beneath his feet felt unstable, as if it could give way at any moment. The whispers of the clock grew louder, more insistent, a chorus of ticking that echoed the impending doom. Each tick was a reminder of the time slipping away, of the irreversible damage that had been done. The echoes reverberated through the dark, empty spaces, filling him with a sense of dread and hopelessness. Momoni realized with horror that he might have gone too far, that the damage might be irreversible. The weight of his actions bore down on him, crushing his spirit. He stood amidst the ruins of his world, a silent witness to the devastation he had wrought. Despair washed over him as he faced the grim reality that there might be no way to undo what had been done. As Momoni teetered on the brink of despair, the old watchmaker's son, offered a glimmer of hope. He spoke of a hidden mechanism within the clock, a fail-safe that could potentially reset the timeline, albeit with a terrible price. It required a sacrifice, a relinquishing of the power that had consumed Momini. The choice was agonizing. Could Momini bear to part with the power that had become both his curse and his obsession? Could he find the strength to atone for his actions, even if it meant losing everything? The fate of his world, his very existence, hung in the balance. The air crackled with anticipation. Momini stood before the clock, his hand hovering over the lever. His decision would determine the fate of his world, his reality. But as he made his choice, the scene fades to black. The only sound that remains is the relentless ticking of a clock, a haunting reminder of the power and the peril of time. Did Momini find redemption, or did his world succumb to the chaos he had created? The answer, like the whispers of the clock, remains elusive, a chilling reminder that some choices have consequences that echo throughout eternity.